Hey everybody, welcome to G4G on YouTube. Today we're going to have a Marvel Avengers Alliance video, and I'm going to pull out one of my old videos from a couple years ago because it is a real good example of one of the things that I miss most about the game, and this video was perfect for it. So in this video, I'm going to be hopping into the simulator over here, as I like to call it. It was my favorite thing to do videos off of because it was one of the one of the only simulators that actually had multiple mobs in it. And Sins was a pretty solid one. I would sometimes use Ymir if I needed to have a deeper simulator to kind of show procs that might take a while to build up and everything, because Ymir was, so hardy. But in this one, this was a video about the Splinter of Night and the Devourer, and what this video that I'm doing here is about, the thing that I missed the most about Marvel Avengers Alliance is synergy. And this is the thing that no other game since then has had. And that's, to me, this is one of the things I miss the most, is the mental chess that you could do in Marvel Avengers Alliance, and these crazy combinations you could build up just by using your brain and thinking of weird things. I know that sounds like a Facebook ad of like, use this one weird trick and you'll win PvP or something like that, but it's true. So now I gotta pause it for a moment. Previously, I used to say that the thing that I missed the most about Marvel Avengers Alliance was having an agent. Now, I should correct myself. It's not the thing that I missed the most. It is what was the most unique about Marvel Avengers Alliance. And there is only one other game that has really ever come close to that. And, I'll just drop it down to 0.75 speed here. We'll continue. So, the only other thing that has kind of come close to the agent is in Iron Maiden Legacy of the Beast. The different eddies. So, if you've never played that game, there are eddies, which is the mascot of Iron Maiden. You have to have an eddy in each match, but you could have multiple ones, sometimes up to 2, sometimes up to 3. And it used the rock, paper, scissors kind of system that Marvel Avengers Alliance uses, where red is physical combat, red, fire, which is stronger than green, which is like earth, bigger tanks, higher hit point pools, and green is stronger than blue, which is like water and ice and spells and magic, and then blue is stronger than red. There is also purple and yellow, which are directly opposed to each other. So it's actually similar to Marvel Avengers Alliance colors, where like infiltrators and combat, except the main color wheel, the red, green, blue, is of course a little bit different. So in that game, the eddies are kind of the anchor of your team, and the gear, quote unquote, on the eddies is the talismans. So depending on what talismans you equip, it's kind of like both agent gear and the ISO 8 from Marvel Avengers Alliance, both the E ISOs and the A ISOs and the stat ISOs. Talismans do that all wrapped into one. You could use talismans that bump a stat, or you can use talismans that give you a proc of some kind, like on a perfect attack, chance to become invincible, things like that. So Iron Maiden Legacy of the Beast kind of fixes the itch to have an agent. And there's also actually really good synergy in that game, in the fact that maybe you have a character that buffs magic resistance for the team, and then you have a different character that has increased damage based on its magic resistance. So you can actually build a team in there with a little bit of synergy. So pausing on that for a moment, you'll see my agent gear is the Crooked Branch of the Devourer, the Scroll of Rune of Maroth, and the Splinter of Night. What this team was about was adding extra attacks from the Splinter of Night, which causes bleeds because of Black Knight. Spreading bleeds around makes a Devourer proc, so on and so forth. But more on that in a little while. So, Iron Maiden Legacy of the Beast is actually probably a game that not many of you played, but is one that is certainly at the higher levels is worth getting into if you really do miss Marvel Avengers Alliance. There's PvP, there's PvE missions, there are events that occur on certain days of the week, and then there are other timed events like you get bonuses based on the amount of Cosmos missions you did, or PvP missions. It's actually a pretty good game, and it does get rather involved when you get really, really deep into it, especially when you start processing talismans. So, after that, of course, we have Marvel. Marvel Future Fight, MFF. Marvel Future Fight is probably the lowest in terms of synergy since MAA died. It's very above the table. You pick a character and you see who teams up with them, and you see the bonuses, and you decide which bonus means something. Like, for example, Captain America, Black Widow, and Agent 13 have bonuses together, or Doctor Strange, Mordo, and Ancient One have bonuses together. It's all very above the table. It doesn't really require a lot of thinking. The game kind of spells everything out for you. There's not a lot of hidden synergies in there or mental chess in that game. I mean, it certainly fulfills the realm of having lots of Marvel characters, and now they're adding the mutants and everything like that. And there are some hidden tricks, like running Shuri or She-Hulk basically buffs everybody's damage, especially in that case against villains. You could do things like run Beast or Werewolf, proc their ability that buffs damage, and then quickly switch out to somebody else. Like Beast does that ability, and then you switch out to Wolverine, and then Wolverine uses the damage proc to get good scores. It's all kind of very obvious. You don't have to really think for any of that stuff. The game just kind of gives it to you. The next one after that, believe it or not, is DC Legends. I know it sounds strange for somebody who's often said they like the Marvel Universe way, way more, but DC Legends has got some decent synergy in it. There certainly is team building in that game. A prime example is one of the newest characters, Starfire. Starfire has an ability where she takes all of the plus intellect up buffs on her, and kind of like Moonstone's Big Bang, does a huge AoE attack that burns all of the plus int up on her, and then converts that plus int into more damage. So what do? You run a team that can feed her some plus int buffs that she can't just stack herself, like Dr. Fate or something like that. Or you have Green Lantern, who gets additional abilities if he's shielded, so maybe you're going to run him with somebody that, like Dr. Fate, that can keep him shielded frequently, or other lanterns and everything. It's you do have to think a little bit on it. It's not quite as obvious as Marvel Future Fight, but it is maybe not as much thinking involved as Iron Maiden Legacy of the Beast. So, and then finally we have Marvel Strike Force, which has got some synergy going on with it, like seeing Doctor Strange on the screen. Mordo is a new character in Marvel Strike Force. He gets bonuses if there are other Mystic people on the field with him, and his passive does, I think it is a chance to revive, and if there's another Mystic on the field, the chance is great, or something like that. So there is some synergy going on in Marvel Strike Force, and it is definitely a fun game. However, nothing comes even remotely close to the thinking that was involved in Marvel Avengers Alliance. So what you're seeing here, to kind of explain what the team does on this one, is this was my Dirty Tricks Volume 1 video. This is the first in the series of crazy situations that my brain had invented at the time. So Black Knight, he had that passive that says, okay, if you have a slashing attack, it causes bleeds. Or if it already caused bleeds, it adds an extra stack. So Black Knight actually made Sif somewhat useful, because Sif had all those sword attacks, and she never caused bleeds, and everybody was always like, why doesn't Sif ever cause bleeds? You think she would. She's got a sword. Well, Black Knight actually made that possible. What was going on here in the team was a very, very convoluted, multi-layered burrito of extra attacks and bleeds over here. So the Black Knight would make the Splinter of Night cause a stack of bleeds. The Splinter of Night follows up on people who have Dark Void. So Doctor Strange was on the field to cause Dark Void. The Splinter of Night also caused it. If the Splinter of the Night followed up on somebody or even attacked somebody, it would cause a stack of bleeds, which gave the Devourer a chance to proc. And because all of this stuff is magic, the Crooked Branch heals people. So every time one of my counters went off of the Splinter of Night or the Devourer, after I used the Crooked Branch, it would cause a heal. And anything Doctor Strange did would be a heal. So that's the mental chess that this game did. That's the thinking that was involved over here. So using the level 1 caused Blood Curse. This is the thing that says slashing attacks do the bleeding. And you see he's already got 3 stacks of bleed. The Crooked Branch says anybody who uses healing, even quick actions, anybody who uses magic, even quick actions, gets a heal. And that's what was different. The ISO that says magic equals healing did not work for quick attacks, but the Crooked Branch did. And that's another principle of Marvel Avengers Alliance that was so amazing. Anything you got in the game, any character, any piece of gear, might not seem like a whole hell of a lot when you first got it, but then something happened in the history of the game that would make it worthwhile. Like Crooked Branch, you'd probably look at that and go, this doesn't seem that good, or this doesn't seem that good. I can get ISOs that do that. But then you realize, man, the Crooked Branch works on so many things that the ISOs didn't. It's amazing. And it turns this little dinky thing that you had a limited time to get into something really powerful when you built teams around it, and that was synergy. And this video here is just an absolute prime example of synergistic team building, and it's one of the things that I just absolutely miss the most. So here the Splinter Knight goes, which continues to refresh bleeds, Sympathy, which is a heal, Reverberation, which is a heal. There's the follow-up because it already had Dark Void, and any one of these attacks could have had the chance to proc Devourer. Another fun thing about Marvel Avengers Alliance is that sometimes the procs were so rare, to use Pokemon as example, almost like a chance of getting a, like a shiny Pokemon or something, that I had actually had some disagreements with some viewers over whether or not a proc would happen. So, for example, me and JW often had this disagreement that the Splinter of Night would not proc if a quick action hit somebody who had Dark Void. And he was like, I've done it 50 times, I've done it 60 times, it never happens. And I'm like, dude, I'm telling you it happened, I witnessed it. He was like, no, it must have been this, it must have been that, I think you're wrong. And eventually I would actually capture, here's the Devourer, by the way. I managed to capture footage of it actually happening, and that's when I finally proved it to him. He was like, oh, holy shit, I can't believe it. Devourer, the Master... See, there it goes. That was it right there. That was the proof. Scroll was a quick action, And the Splinter Knight followed up on it because Ymir already had Darkest Void on him. And it was like, hey, I did something to him. Darkest Void's on him. The Splinter Knight had a chance. And it actually did it. So I missed that. I missed the absolute depth of the craziness of this particular game. Now, oddly enough, if I can go back to one of my other videos over here, I had a video, this one, should I buy the Son of the Demon set? And in this video, from all the way back in 2014, I said, don't get this set. The Devourer works great, it's fun, but the rest of the set is kind of trash. And not worth it. And I highlight the eye and say, you know, in order for the eye to do the generalization, you have to run the chalice. The chalice is the worst part of the set. This is another example of how things change so much in the game. I had kept saying the Chalice of Souls was just absolute trash, especially all over this video. I just was like, it's garbage, don't spend your money on this. The Devourer is really, really good, but the rest of the set is kind of eh. First of all, AoE generalizations later on in the game would be tremendous, both PvE and PvP. That Chalice of Souls actually wound up being the only thing in the game that resurrected the unresurrectables. Not Valkyrie, not Jean Grey / Phoenix, not Back for More. The Chalice, which, let's see if I can capture the tooltip over here. Especially later in the career of the game, the Chalice of Souls, oh, why did it? Go back one more second and I should be able to capture it. The Chalice of Souls was the only thing... the double clicking is causing... I'm going to have to slow it down. Was the only thing that was capable of doing these crazy tricks that nothing else in the game could do. And it was really, really great having a community of people on my channel during the Twitch streams and everything, as we would do these really nutty experiments with the Chalice. There it is. Okay, good. So we got it back. And as you can see here, it was a quick action that says it brings the agent back to life before this character's first action. And it causes a permanent dizzy, but it also caused rebuff. Now, I've never really ever used it for rebuff, which was good, believe it or not. But I used to use it for the tactical suicide and the blaster suicide teams, where I would kill myself with the Feed Denarok. And then the Chalice of Souls would resurrect me within the first round, thereby getting all the benefits of committing suicide with none of the negatives of it, or none of the real negatives. This is part of that synergy that I'm talking about, that I miss about the game so much. There's just no game that is out there currently, not Strike Force, not Future Fight, Contest of Champions, DC Legends, Iron Maiden Legacy of the Beast. None of the ones that at least I know about have this crazy synergy that I could sit there on a Twitch stream with however many viewers and have 5 or 6, 7, 10 things that I experiment with and be like, let's try this, let's try that, let's see what is the Chalice compared to Valkyrie or Jean or Pfiza, maybe they'll do it. And nothing compared to the Chalice of Souls, and it was so broken. I miss that. I truly miss that experience of breaking this game at its core. And I'm not really talking about the breaks that happened when there was a bug in the game, like that Cosmic Shield that meant you would just go infinitely in PvP combat and people would have to reset and you would win. Like, I'm not talking about the bugs like the electro team up with the electro hammer that caused the game to crash and everything, and people abuse that. But I'm talking about the fun ones, like what the Chalice of Souls did, and watching the Devour proc, which was an AoE, and then watching like Spider Man Noir follow up on each and every person hit by the Devour, and then Rocket Raccoon going, hey, that's a follow-up attack. I'm going to get in on that. And then he shoots everybody, and then Spider-Man Noir gets in on it, or Union Jack gets in on it. No game has done that kind of crazy experimentation since then. And, you know, here at the time of this video, so here I was using Fandral to cause bleeds, and I was using Satana to buff the Son of the Demon set over here. Give me some of the debuffs that the set needed without running other set pieces. And meanwhile, Fandral was, you know, causing bleed, so that Devoured proc. And look, there's the Scourging Gaze, so that I could do the generalization. There's the Devour, and then there's the Cube, and that's the E-Tech shield, or the E-Regulator shield over there, that piece of shit, if you remember it. This is what I'm looking forward to so much when Goofy Troll gets us out. I mean, I kind of feel like we ran the game through all of its possible paces by the time the game was over, but just the chance to do them again and maybe find new ones as the community creates gear and characters and everything like that. If this game does get going again, the possibilities could be absolutely endless. And the thought of getting back out there and doing videos again and doing modern takes on these team-ups, using the Sin simulator for ideas and everything again, that's going to be crazy. And yeah, there comes a point where the game releases and, you know, we're looking at this game that had everything we used to. Will it get boring? Well, as long as the community continues to work with characters and we, you know, invent new spec ops. And let's be honest, when the game ended, some of us were in a position of privilege. We had been doing ADA finishes for years and seasons, and we always completed spec ops, and we got the 1,000 buckets of ISO, so we were super Spartans and everything like that. But what about the people who only got into the game in the last year and didn't complete their roster and didn't get 300 and didn't have all level 15s? We often forget what it's like to be that person, and that's a player too. I mean, somebody who started in the beginning of 2016 and absolutely loved the game but didn't get to experience all parts of it. They love the game as much as us. The super... there goes that Devour. You know, they love the game as much as the Super Spartans did. And they're the ones who benefit probably the most from the game coming back, because all that wonderment of going through this game and getting new gear and everything like that is just super exciting for them again. So, one of the things that I hope when it comes back, I really do want to make a special request to get that X-Play X-Gadget again. That was my badge of honor when the game wrapped up. I was like one of the few people that I had ever run into in the game that actually had the X-Play gadget, which was after Justin was interviewed on G4 TV and he announced the beta. If you got into the beta, you got that weapon, and I maybe ran into 2 people tops in 4 years of the game that actually had that. And I really want that thing again, and I fucking want that Beyond Corp can opener that I never managed to get. So, wow, God, there's Captain Steve Rogers. Look at this gear over here. Is this not a... There's the Noro Purge. There's the Vibra Crescent, which I loved. That's the Batstone Predator. Looks like I think I'm going to take out the E-Regulator for this, or maybe I'm leaving it. No, okay, I see. There's the Guardian Badge. There's the Mark of the Brotherhood. There's the Avalanche Fist. the Goblin Mask, the Whistling Steel. Okay, so this video was supposed to be about the Devourer. The Whistling Steel goes batshit. In this, I'm surprised I had the Whistling Steel in 2014. I thought it wasn't until later when they did the sale on that. No, that's the Master Sword. I'm sorry. The Whistling Steel is actually very good. And that's another case of synergy in this. The Whistling Steel gave you a buff if you followed up, and it gave you a defensive buff if you countered. So if you got people bleeding, and then the Devourer followed up on people, the Whistling Steel gave you a buff. Where is this synergy in games? Where is the intelligence to create such depth? Like, look at that. That's a counter. My buffs just went up to 5. And here, I think I'm going to use... No, I'm going to do the Blackest Void at this point. Because there's not enough bleeds. No, there's 3 stacks. I might use the Predator here. I don't know what I'm going to do. Yeah, the Power Armor. That's a pretty good hit from the Whistling Steel. God, look at... That thing is going nuts. See, I missed this game. I'm watching this video and knowing that... There it goes again. I mean, now my buffs are up at 6. I know exactly what Whistling Steel is doing. So here's the AoE internal bleeding. Just more bleeds for people. You know, except for the Power Armor. It's a machine. It's not going to bleed. Maybe here's where I use the gun and exploit all the bleeds. Yep. Watch this damage that goes out on some of them. It's pretty solid. The Warriors 3. I mean, God, remember when you would clean your debuffs off in PvP and then Fandral would swing by on that fucking chandelier and all 3 stacks of bleeds would be right back? Really annoying. So, alright guys, I'm going to wrap this video up. I just really wanted to bring this back up, and I think maybe I'll continue to go through some of my old videos and kind of bring them back out as little refresher courses in this. I know the Dirty Trick series was a lot of fun, and I also did a really long series on Union Jack and a bunch of team-ups there because of the fact that he liked to join in on counters and follow-ups and everything. So the Dirty Trick series and that Union Jack series were 2 of the series that I think I had the most fun with back in the day. So alright guys, take care, keep your hopes up that Goofy continues to work with this. You may not have seen a lot of stuff from him lately, or me by proxy. However, he's been active on Facebook, he's been active on Discord as of today. He is definitely still working on things, so just hold on guys. Like, give him time, don't bug him, don't crawl up his ass being like, dude, when, like, it's the worst thing you could do for a guy who's doing something for free on his, you know, on his spare time and everything like that. This isn't Playdom, he's not getting paid to do this, he doesn't have deadlines that he must live by and everything like that. So to be honest, my hope is by the end of the summer that we definitely at least have an alpha that we can go through over here. So take care everybody, and stay tuned to the channel for more stuff as it comes along.